What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, NVIDIA, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the market moving forward and talk about some very, very important levels. But just note that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, Jerome Powell was speaking today. We saw the market see a huge pump only to dip back down. And at the time I'm speaking, we are seeing some buyers defending the market. Jerome Powell is being dovish, so for now, that's causing the market to rebound. So I'm going to break down some very, very important levels. So what happened with Jerome Powell is the first question. Let me talk about that first. He gave a speech today and spoke very briefly for about 15 to 20 minutes. And his speech led to the market pumping because he said some very important things. Now, I predicted the market would pump a bit with Jerome Powell's speech, but I did warn you guys that the market could still see a rejection later on, and I still hold that view. I will talk about that in just a minute. The market thinks there's a 67.5% chance we get a 25 basis point cut, and about a 32.5% chance we get 50 basis points. So that's what we're looking at so far. Jerome Powell was giving a speech and he said some very important things. He mentioned that interest rate cuts are likely going to happen very soon. He said the time has come for them to adjust policy. He mentioned that they're going to be basically concluding their rate hike cycle. They're tightening a monetary policy cycle, and now things are going to adjust. He mentioned that there are some risks for the downside for basically uh, employment. So that's implying that there could be some pain coming from that sector. But for inflation, they're meeting their goals. They're on track for that 2% target, and the upside risk has been declining as well. So that's a good sign for inflation. Inflation is likely going to be a lot more contained. And he did mention that because of what's happened to the labor market, the Fed is now in a position where they're going to be cutting very soon. He implied that, and the market absolutely loved that. So this is just giving more and more confirmation that the market wanted. Now, he didn't explicitly say it. He didn't actually say we're going to cut rates, but he implied it with his words, and that's what the market liked. He was being more dovish. That's why the market is more bullish. So the market is trying to push right now as a result of that. Do I think it's going to last forever? Not necessarily, but there's no sign of us truly rejecting quite yet. So we have to give this some time. We got this nice push to about 222 on Tesla, only to retrace back down towards our key EMAs. So these are going to be our supports. We basically have this 217 area as our first support. Then we have this trend line close to 215 as the next support at the 20 EMA. So watch those two supports. If we lose 215, we're at risk of dipping all the way down to like 212 and to see the bearish outcome. And as long as we hold above this trend line, we could try to rebound for the 220 target. Looking at Tesla, as you guys could see, we had this very important trend line acting as our support. See this big white trend line. Tesla's been riding this upwards for quite some time. We did dip below this temporarily only to get bought back up. So we're doing a good job in my personal opinion. So because the market was so, dovish, I'm sorry, not dovish, because the Fed was so dovish, the market is looking at this as a more positive thing. That's why we're seeing buyers defending. So for now, the buyers have a slight edge. That does not necessarily mean the market is going to turn extremely bullish forever. For now, we are a bit more bullish, but I'll be watching to see if Tesla establishes a lower high compared to these highs up here. But we could continue to hold up very, very nicely. So as long as we're above 217, we could slowly try to get close to 220. We are chopping a little bit, but there is potential for Tesla. As far as SPY goes, we're doing a good job at rebounding right now. We saw this thing dip a little bit. So we pumped to about 563 with Jerome Powell. Then we dumped down to 558. So we did see a pump and dump only to get bought back up again. After this dip, we are seeing buyers defending. So we're looking at 562 as our resistance. If we break that, look at 563. If that breaks, we're going all the way up close to 565. Now, if we end up dipping, we lose 562, or if we don't break it, I'm looking at 560 as support, 558, then 556. As of right now, the trend's more bullish. We could attempt to break our highs. It's a strong possibility. But like I said in my previous videos, I don't think that the market's going to rally forever. I think that for now we are bullish, but we still have a lot of gaps left on the SPY chart. If you guys look at this on the daily, if you look at all these gaps, and also the fact that the market could be forming a giant cup and handle like structure, I still think that even if we do push towards 555, there's going to be some risk involved in that, and the market could still get a big rejection later on. We're just not ready yet for that true rejection as the market's getting bought back up. So in the future, I think there could be a rejection coming, but for the short term before that rejection comes, we remain bullish, and the market's trying to get bought back up thanks to Jerome Powell pumping the markets again. So for now, we're just going to play the charts, watch your levels, and see how well SPY holds up here. We are trying to push for now, and we'll see if we get a rejection. 563 is going to be a tough resistance. If this does break, we're looking for 565, but then the market could still, once again, form its top, and there could be a rejection or reversal coming. For NVIDIA, we did a good job at holding up. We're basically looking at this 130 area as our resistance. We have supported 128, not to mention 126.5, and also 124.7. I think that NVIDIA may continue to push a little bit higher, approaching this nice resistance. We'll see if 128 holds. I think we could push a little bit more, but then there could be a rejection kind of like forming right there if things end up switching. So we have to give this a little bit more time, at least as time goes on. We could push higher. I'm not really negating that. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. We could push a little bit higher, but there is still a risk of us rejecting at resistance. So we're not ready to reject yet. We're just trying to push for now. Bitcoin's trying to push for 61,500. We could get closer to that. But like I said earlier, even if Bitcoin does continue to push, I wouldn't turn too bullish yet or too bearish. Wait and see how we end up reacting. We did reject off the 62,000 area many times. So we'll see if that leads to a little pop and drop. For ES, we hit the high. We're going to be watching this high right here. Is this going to be a double top, or will we try to break this high? Look at 56.50 as our resistance and support at 56.20. It's possible we try to push a little bit higher, then we'll see what kind of reaction we get. The chart is, once again, still looking like it wants to go higher just a little bit. We'll see how it goes, but just know that with the fact that the market has tough resistance, there's no guarantee this move is going to last forever. For the QQQ, we got a nice little pump up towards this 480 area. We hit 482, it dipped back down to 474. So a big dump came to the QQQ, only to get bought back up again. So I think we may just remain range bound for the day. We have 480 as our resistance and 482. We have support at 477. If that fails, let's watch 475, then a bigger dump. To turn really bearish, you want to lose 473. To be very bullish, you want to break 485. My guts tells me we just remain range bound for now on the QQQ, not really doing much. For Aapl, we pumped all the way up to about 228, only to dump back down to about 225. And now we're just stuck in the middle. So I think we're just going to remain range bound in the 226s for now. Not really doing much. So watch and see which way we go. The Russell got a big breakout today. It's actually breaking out thanks to Jerome Powell's speech. I mentioned to everyone we're going to be testing 216 to 217. If we break that, 220 is coming. I did say that. And that's what happened. We did reach 220 as we predicted if we had broken it, the 217 area. If we reject off 220, we're looking at 217 as key supports, and now we're testing previous support becoming resistance. If we break 220, we're going to be looking for this range up here, taking us all the way up towards the 220, 223 area. So if we break the 220s, I think we're going to be pushing higher. So far, we're doing a good job, but just no resistance is going to get tougher. So we'll see how things go. For others out there, we also have Coinbase. Coin looks a little bit more bullish. I called out 205 in my morning video. We'll see if this holds as it's forming a nice pennant. We might actually be trying to push towards the high instead. So we'll watch 205 as our resistance. If that breaks, we're looking for 208. Our support's at 202. We are looking more bullish on coin. For Amazon, we're trying to rebound. We did push for basically 179. Now we're trying to get higher. Watch 178 as resistance, our 50 EMA. If that breaks, we're going up towards the high of the day, then 180. If we end up losing 175, we dip. We're just range bound for now. On Meta, it's the same thing. Essentially, we're just range bound. We have a head and shoulders like structure. If we end up losing 530, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 525. And we happen to have resistance around 534. So we'll have to see how this ends up developing. But it's worth mentioning that there is a head and shoulders on Meta. If we lose 530, there's a risk of us dipping lower. And I think that right now the chart's showing that it's stagnant. It's just range bound between 530 and 538. So we'll see how things go. But there is that risk of downside if we lose support. For Microsoft, we're potentially dipping a little bit. So we're looking at resistance around this 418 area. We have support around 414. Looking at this potential head and shoulders like structure is developing. If we lose 418, there's going to be a big dip coming. Sorry, not 418, 414. If we lose 414, there's going to be a bigger dip coming. Otherwise, we're just range bound on this. Google is also trading sideways right now. We have resistance at 168 and support at 166. Whichever way we break will determine the bigger move. We're trying to push a little bit, so we'll see how well it does. With that being said, guys, the market's in a very, very interesting place. Some tickers like SPY are trying to push higher. It is possible to try to break our highs, but just know I don't think the move will last forever. I don't expect us to go much higher than 565 on this run. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to be watching the levels just to be safe. And as far as Tesla goes, we're looking more bullish, got a nice bounce, especially because of Jerome Powell. You have to remember that Tesla is very sensitive to interest rates alongside lots of other EVs. So when you hear Jerome Powell say that the Fed is, or at least he implied that the Fed is going to be cutting in September, the market will get a good reaction. So will stocks like Tesla. That's why Tesla is pumping the way it is. All right. So I just wanted to make that very clear. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Hope you guys have a great day. So far, the market is favoring upside a little bit more, but just know there's no guarantee this will last forever. And we'll be very careful at the resistance levels we reach because the market's at a riskier position than before. All right, so that's my analysis. Jerome Powell gave us a good speech, and we'll see how things go for the next couple of hours. Watch your levels. The market's favoring upside a bit more for now, but we'll see how we react to resistance. And we'll be very, very patient in the process. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day, and peace out.